The Gold Coast Titans, the new kids on the block since 2007. So 15 years as that newest team in the NRL. But all that's about to change. Redcliffe Dolphins coming in. It's time for the Titans to prove that they're a mature organisation that can win consistently. They had some high points. 2009, they were the second best team in the comp. They've had some other finals appearances as well, but recent times have been pretty inconsistent. Saying that, in and around that sort of top 8 conversation most of the time. Miles, a few signings here. Foran, Verills, Shop, Stimson. Do any of these names stand out as really good or really bad signings?
I think the one that you have to go with is Kieran Foran. Yes, he's struggled when he's gone to other clubs, but over the last couple of years, we've seen him play some pretty consistent footy without getting injured. So if he can provide a bit of that for the Gold Coast Titans and really be that level head and come in and show them how to play premiership winning footy, because he's done it, at Manly. And, it didn't work out at a few other clubs, but with Foran, if you can get that consistency out of him, he can really improve your club. I know you were super excited when Para signed him as well, and I know how that ended. I don't want to upset you too much, but with Foran and the Gold Coast Titans, it's got to be about consistency. He's going to have to play 7 because I see him being the game manager. He's going to have to kick a lot more than he did last year with Cherry Evans taking on most of the kicking there and AJ Brimson not being a really well-known kicker of the ball. So I think kicking game is going to be extremely crucial for them this year, and if Foran can get that right, then the Titans have a bit of a roster around him to kind of push for a top 8 spot.
Here's what I'll say about Kieran Foran. Dave Fifita was misused astronomically by the Titans last year. I don't know what was going on in the coaching room, but there was just this adamant belief that early ball to Dave Fifita was not the way to do it. Hitting him close to the line was not the way to do it. We're gonna set him out there to defend, and we're gonna play him at center every now and then as well.
Do you remember playing him at center? That was just...
He doesn't need to be doing that. David Fifita is the best player in the comp at one thing, and that's running the ball. He is not it for any other part of the game. So don't make him do the other parts as much. Try and hide him in defence a bit. Try and put him with Foran. Foran's a rock-solid half defender. Put him with Foran. Give him early ball. If David Fifita isn't making 15 runs a game, then you are not playing a good game plan because you're not exploiting him in terms of what he can do. And there were games last year where he was making single-digit runs and
playing off the bench.
Yeah, but everyone's critiquing him, though. It's like they're not giving him the ball. He's out there. He's out there. He's got one-on-one matchups. They're not chucking him the ball. And I think Kieran Foran's a smart enough player to unlock him. So I'm excited about Kieran Foran in that way. I don't think he's the transcendent talent that some people are spouting him off to be. But if you can unlock Dave Fifita, then he's provided value in his contract like that.
Yeah, I was going to say, you could make an argument that a lot of people say that David Fifita isn't worth his current contract, but is he not worth his current contract when people don't give him the ball? Has he got to go searching for it? Is it his job to go into the middle and be like, hey, give me the ball, I'm going to make an unstoppable run here? Or is it their job to provide a guy who's played centre and back row his entire career to be given the ball in space? Because that's exactly what you were saying. If Foran can unlock him and give him the ball early and he can provide a couple of really nice runs every game, then I think the Titans can go a long way. But I just think they're so focused, and their focus last year was based on defense, and it's just a weird, gritty game plan that they were playing every single week. I don't know what's going through Justin Holbrook's head, but from what I've seen over the Titans' tenure in the league, they win games by scoring more points than the opposition. They don't worry too much about defense. They're kind of like the Warriors a little bit. They throw the ball around a bit. They score points. They have, a couple of really good wins a year, but that's about it. That's the highlights reel for the Titans. And you were saying that early on, when they started in the comp, they had some success. They went pretty close to making a few preliminary finals, grand finals even. They didn't quite get there, but they had a really good roster at the time. And I think that's what this is going to come down to, is they've let possibly their most explosive edge player go.
Greg Marzhew.
We are a big fan of the Marzhew on this channel. Greg, if you're watching, please give us a holler out because that just amazed me. The old Greg Marzhew for Chris Randall trade. Oh, Chris Randall.
Look, Greg Marzhew is criminally underrated, and I had him in basically every fantasy and Supercoach league, like in all of our drafts, because when he played, he was just a force.
Yeah.
Like, the man's making 20 runs a game. He was topping the tackle breaks per game as well. We read an article on that last year. He was a dominant force, and look, he's got some liabilities in defense. I'm not going to skip around that, but if you're that good in attack and that unstoppable with the ball in hand and starting sets that strongly, especially in a team that's trying to blood Jaden Campbell, a guy who can support him a bit, I'm happy with it. I think they've made a really poor choice in letting him go. The other guys that let go were Corey Thompson and Jared Wallace too. So a couple of other good players. Corey Thompson's always been doing it, and Jared Wallace, just up and down. They've got enough forwards to cover it, so I don't mind it that much.
Yeah, the forward pack's interesting because I would like to see Aaron Clark play 13 this year, and I think maybe they should shift Tino into the front row to cover for that Jared Wallace spot. But their number 9 is going to be interesting this year as well, with Verills coming in and Tanner Boyd, I think, competing for that sort of 9, 6, 7 spot. I do think that their forward pack is a little lean, little less exciting when you look at it on paper. You got the two big boys in Tino and Fifita, but if they're not going to use Fifita effectively like they did last year, then it could end up in tears again for the Gold Coast Titans. So they need to sort that out ASAP.
Yeah, I think you're right about Tino. I was listening to the Supercoach Whisperer podcast. He had Adrianosaurus on there too. One of them was talking about this with Tino just being one of the best props in the game, but he's not a traditional 13. He's not a ball player. He's got work rate. He's made himself do that, but I think he's just better as a 55-minute prop. 55, maybe 60 minutes. You go 2 30-minute stints. You don't play him off the bench, but there's worlds where you could. And you just say to him, you just run the ball and be an absolute psycho. And don't worry about trying to be a distributor. Be a leader from the front. Be a captain from the front in terms of what you do and not structuring plays.
Yep.
So for the Titans then, how do you see them going this year? Like, are you picking them to be a top 8 team, to be a bottom 4 team? I've seen predictions that have gone as high as 5th and as low as 17th.
Jeez, I don't know about 5th, but for me, they're not making the 8 this year. I don't want to be too negative on Gold Coast because I loved what they did 2 years ago. They were a whisker away from beating the Roosters, and it's a shame that we're talking about that because that was such a good transition into last year where you thought, oh, maybe they could take the next step. They could come 6th, 5th, or maybe even have a home final, and it capitulated very quickly, didn't it? It was sad to see, and it's not something I want to see from the Titans. I like them as a club, but I think they're struggling a little bit with their team identity. Coaching is definitely a problem at this point in time, and we just haven't seen the evidence there that will suggest that they'll be a top 8 team. So for me, they're challenging for the wooden spoon at this point in time. I've got the Dragons winning it, but the Gold Coast Titans are going to go pretty close.
The disrespect you are showing for such a talented roster. Titans fans, don't listen to him. All right. Look, let's go through this team a little bit. AJ Brimson, we know who he is. Brimson's a freak. He strung together some games last year too, so that injury-prone tag can go away. Foran's there. Dave Fifita had his worst season ever, and he still was a force on the field. Tino is a great leader. I'm looking at guys like Verills, and I'm looking at guys like Jaden Campbell, and there's a leap there to be had. And I can't tell you if they're going to make that leap. I'm more confident in Jaden Campbell than I'm in Verills.
I like Campbell.
Yeah, I think he learns a lot from last year. He had some tough games. He had some really good games. I think they're in that conversation for the 8. I just really like some of the other teams that are in that conversation more. So I don't think they make it, but I wouldn't be surprised if this team is racking up 40-point scores soon. It's just the centers and the wingers. If Brian Kelly was in the form he was in 2 years ago, I might have them a bit higher. If they had Marzhew, I might have them a bit higher, but I'm a bit underwhelmed by the outside backs.
Yeah, you're right. I just want them to get back to playing watchable football because last year, I think I watched a game between them and the Tigers, and everyone told us, it's a really close game. It was atrocious. I think the game ended up 8-6 or something, and there was 2 penalty goals.
8-2, wasn't
Oh, it was just dreadful. And the problem was the Titans continued that for like the next 10, 11 weeks. And I was like, what are they doing? And I would love them to get back to your point where I would chuck it on. You know, I'm seeing the Titans versus, you know, the Raiders or something. I want to see a game like 34-30. You know, that'd be a great game to watch, and not much defense played, but who cares? They scored tries, they played some attacking footy, and that's what I think the Titans are best known for.
I'm totally with you there. And you look back, I think it's 3 or 4 years now since they've beaten the Storm well, but they used to beat the Storm.
Yeah.
I remember a game where they beat them 38-36. And you play that style of footy, and the top teams can't keep up. You know, that's your one shot against a Penrith. That's your one shot against a Melbourne.
Chance your arm.
Yeah, exactly. You know, maybe they nearly beat the Trooks there. That's another one. Like, that's how you beat those teams if you're the Titans. Like, you're not going to grind out an 8-2 win against anyone who isn't the Tigers. And even the Tigers this year are too good to do that against now.
Yeah.
So we've got varying opinions. Look, just missing the 8 or potentially fighting for the spoon. Let us know in the comments where you think they're going to finish and who you think is the most important player for the Titans this year. See you soon.